Hi everyone, this is Apoc and I am back with another video. In this video, I really want to cover the race to world first situation in Final Fantasy XIV. There was a recent tweet by Frosty in which he, kind of highlighted some of the concerns that he had with the current state of the event and somewhat, I don't know if he was like for real asking for some sort of uh, help in how to better present the event and how to better improve it. Obviously he's been working on this for a while now, and I believe that he has been, so he has taken this upon himself, and I believe that he has done a great job. The production is great, the intent is great, everything that he has put together so far is amazing, right? And I've never you know I never met Frosty. I've never talked to Frosty. He has no idea who I am. And I am also new to content creating in Final Fantasy XIV, or content creating at all. I have played the game on and off for a while, but I'm new to this. There's no reason for him to know me. But I can tell just from the eye test and kind of seeing his post, his streams and everything like that he's legitimately a good guy, right? He's a really good person who really cares about this, who has a passion for this. Because trust me, if he had no passion for this, there is no way that he would be doing it, right? And he doesn't really get that much out of it. And he doesn't do this for himself. He does this for the community. He does this for the players. He does this for the event because of how much passion he has for all of this. So what I want to do in this video is essentially just highlight a few things that I think uh, could improve. I don't know for a fact, but I'm offering kind of my thoughts on the current situation regarding the Final Fantasy XIV world race to world first. It's also very possible that I'm just talking out of my ass and I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I must admit, I haven't, like been crazy super been paying attention. This is just me based on my own experience as to why maybe I'm not as involved. Maybe I don't care as much about the event. And that's what it is, right? Maybe, I mean, feel free to just roast me and say, yeah, you're totally off base. You have no idea what you're talking about. So, I want to talk about uh, four things. So one of the things is connection with players, and I'll get a little bit more into that. I believe that popular players need more involvement in the race to world first, and I think also that participants need to stream the whenever their prog. They can't just, oh, off stream, I'm number one. No. I don't think we should recognize people that do not stream at all. And I'll get into why and some examples as to why. And I also think there needs to be a registration. Like, people need to register for the Race to World First or Frosty's World to World First for that type of recognition. It can't just be everyone. And again, I don't know all the details. I kind of watch on and off. Maybe there is a registration, I don't know, but the way that I understand it is that anyone out of nowhere can put a team together, and boom, if they can prove that they were first, they're first without any sort of sign up or anything like that. So let's start with connection with the players. So, and I talk from my own personal experience, as far as I did not feel any connection at all with any of the teams that were going up or that seemed to be in the top 10, right? I have some sort of connection as far as being, being entertained or being somewhat of a fan of Sino and Arthars and Mr. Happy. So I would go to their streams and kind of see how they were doing on the prog. But, where they were in the race was nowhere near close, right? So it's not like they're not even hyping it up. They're not even selling it as if they are in the race, right? The only team that seemed to be really like, oh, I'm in this race, and the purpose of us doing this is because we want to get raced, to win first in the race to world first, and that seemed to be Echo, right? And this is like their first real participation in a race to world first in the way that they put events similar to WoW, right? So I would go to Echo streams and they're for real taking this serious. They've trained, they got the guys. It definitely seemed like they were participating. But when you would go to other streams, whether it was Xeno, right, who's considered to be one of the best tanks in the world, or better warriors and just tank in general, he was progging, but he wasn't racing, right? There was no indicator that him or the team had any desire or goal or their sight set on being first or top 10 or anything at all with the race whatsoever. But that's most teams as well. So it just doesn't build up any anticipation for the audience. There is no connection. There's no caring really as to whether any of these teams win, because number one, they're not popular. They come out of nowhere, and there's no real structure as to, all right, these are the teams that are participating, similar to any other tournament that you would see, right? Whether it's March Madness, you will see, okay, these are the 64 teams that are participating. So you know that you're in competition, or anything else, any league, any professional league where there is a competition, there are okay, these are the participants, these are the contestants. It can't just be, the whole entire world is just open to this, which is why I'm going to get into my point for the registration. So that is the first thing that I think is how to better build a connection with the players. If you already have people, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the registration, which I'm going to get into a little bit later again. So my apologies that I keep bringing that up and kind of like, making, having those two things kind of merge. But in building that connection, if you have players that you already know that are participating in this and that are signing up for this, then you can start building a profile for them, right? You can start interviewing, you can start, before the event comes up, as far as, hey, what are your thoughts on the race coming up? How are you guys preparing for the race coming up? How's the excitement levels, all these different things, a little bit of background information about each player from their teams. And then you can start to build a connection from the audience with the players. So I believe that is absolutely necessary in this case in order to grow it. But you can't just have anybody at any time coming out of nowhere. I remember back in so with boxing was a little bit. It's been big, and then it was struggling a little bit with audience. But I remember the fight back in the day. I'm gonna date myself here, but the Mayweather versus De La Hoya fight back in the day. It was the first time that they did the whole HBO 24/7 series, where it was Mayweather De La Hoya 24/7, and that generated crazy anticipation for the fight. It was probably, it still stands as one of the most watched boxing events, in the history of the sport, in the history of pay-per-view even, just because every Saturday you had an episode that talked to, that kind of got into the boxers, disdain for one another, their training regime, all these different things that the audience was kind of like, oh man, I can't wait for the fight to start because of all this buildup that has been given. And that's because the fighters. If you don't know the fighters, then there's no buildup. There's not going to be an audience. But I think this is easy to do within the Final Fantasy XIV community. So the second thing is, I think popular players need to be involved a little bit more, but it also goes hand in hand with the connection with the players as well, and the players and the audience caring about the event. So if like Xeno says, okay, yeah, I want, to compete for Race to World first, and this, as I'm going through Savage, my goal is to be top whatever, top 5, top 10, whatever, hoping that I get top 1, but a finish of top 10 or something like that. They have to somehow also build the participation, Arthar's, Mr. Happy, all of them. So I was actually watching their streams instead. So I was in Xeno's streams, for instance, as he was progging instead. And I would kind of go back and forth, because Mog Talk, or now FrostyMog, they have really good production. So I love listening, even the volunteers that come in. I love listening to them and the commentary that they have, and it's all really well put together. But again, the people that they're highlighting, I just don't care about. I think that's the problem, right? I care about Montauk, I care about the production, I care about Frosty, I care about that entire thing. I just don't care about what they're like, well, they're not marketing anything, but the product that they're presenting, I guess, as far as the teams involved, because I just don't know them. So even though I want to support it, I'd rather watch Sino, or I would rather watch uh Echo, right? Because Echo was actually, I was interested in their stuff, and they had amazing production. So when you have that, right, you have Frosty doing his thing on his channel with amazing production, and you also have Echo doing their thing with amazing production on their channel. That this is, I think, what Echo did really. Um, it's the beginning of what's to come with Race to World First, because once you have a team at that level of recognition and production involved in this, it's only gonna make it better, right? So I was super happy to see that Echo was involved in Final Fantasy XIV. You know, typically they do their WoW thing, and they put amazing production. Like the Race to World First in WoW is a whole entire thing. It's a whole entire event, and if people do care about, because popular players are involved in the race, right? And in the production, right? You have, and although you maybe know that either Liquid or Echo are gonna win at the end of the day, they Race the World First, but you care about at least that rivalry, right? So it's either this team or this team, and they're both well marketed, and they're both super popular. Like all the teams within Liquid and Echo, people love to watch all the time. So even just two, right? Even just having two teams. Say you don't have anything else. Say Race to World First is just two teams that everybody really, really cares about. Then that makes a huge difference. And then, so my third point is you have to stream. So even if you don't do the registration, as we're going to talk about a little bit later, people have to stream in order to get any sort of recognition. I don't think you can just do off-stream stuff and get recognition to say, "Oh no, look at my time. We're actually, world first in this tier or in this ultimate or whatever the case may be." That it's different. There is a difference. Like I've been in the legal profession for over 16 years right now, and it's mostly in criminal law. And there is a huge difference between prepping a witness when they're not sitting in the courtroom, when there's not a judge or a jury watching them, or a gallery full of people watching them. When you're doing it behind closed doors and practicing, oh, this is easy reps, right? There's no pressure at all whatsoever. But when you sit in that witness stand, I've sat at on the witness stand before, and it's different. And it's, it just because of the pressure, you can barely even remember things. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like imagine if you were streaming when it comes to, when it comes to the Race to World First. You have the pressure. People are watching. It's just different, right? Now you're opened up kind of to the world. It's a just different performance. It's the same thing with, players even in the NBA when they're playing regular season games or exhibition games. They go off, they score 40, 50 points a game. And then the NBA Finals, the lights are a little bit brighter. They can't make a basket. So pressure, stress is part of the race, right? So if you want to compete here, you have to stream, and people need to, just recognize people that are streaming, that are tracking, that are being watched, especially like if you're competing and people, they're building anticipation, like, oh my God, you might get first. Pressure is for real on now. So the whole thought process is a little bit different. Whereas if you're just, on Discord on your own, nobody's watching you, that it's just not the same. And there's no way that can be recognized, in my opinion. And then lastly, registration. So I don't know how. I'm not really sure because I'm not an expert at these things. I'm simply just offering my thoughts and opinions because of the tweet from Frosty. But I do believe there has to be a registration to ease with my previous 2 points of connecting with players and popular players being involved. And the registration can be, I don't know, it can be $10 per player, a certain fee, right? And then you have $80 per team. This whole thing could work out similar to fantasy sports. And I'm not sure if anyone, is familiar with fantasy sports, whether fantasy football, fantasy basketball, fantasy baseball. And typically, say someone who wants to play, there's 12 players running a fantasy team, or 12 teams, 12 owners. They'll put in $100, and at the end, you say you have the whole pot. After everyone puts in $100, is $1,200, right? And then you split it in some sort of like, at the end of the day, whoever gets first gets 60% of that. Whoever gets second, 30%, and then whoever gets third, 10%. But you can split that money in that way. And that's one way in which Frosty can reward, there can be, like there's actually money and there's actually something on the line that people are going to get at the end. And shoot, you can actually do it, 60%, 25%, 10%, and then a 5% to kind of, for the volunteers or something like that do the event and cover it and make it a little bit better, right? Just depending on how you want to do the registration piece. But again, if you don't register for that, for the event, the Race to World First that Frosty runs, then you don't, you can, of course, yeah, you can be on the side and do it on your own, and say that you beat everybody that was registered, but it just, to me, it doesn't count. It really doesn't matter, because it's not the pressure of competition, the pressure of the world watching you compete at the highest level. It does not compare. So that's what we need to get around, that, oh no, but these people did it, they're actually the better ones, they're the actual, first. No, they're not. I don't care about what you do, without the pressure of everything else that's being built up. And I'm not saying they're good. I mean, it's not to take anything away, but them doing that on their own with being off stream, it hurts the product and the quality of what Frosty's trying to do. So that's why I'm being a little bit mean, in the sense that whatever they're doing, and it's great, and pat on the back, awesome, you're amazing, but it hurts Frosty's product. It just does. When you're having to kind of like, track down in this obscure way who was actually world first, and given some sort of recognition to an off-stream, obscure group coming out of nowhere. So I don't think so. And I think one prominent popular player, I think Sphia, had in the past won a ton of these, I think, like especially during the Shadowbringers run to world first, or race to world first. So and again, and not taking away anything from Sphia, amazing player, and his entire group, amazing players as well. But in order to really participate in this and get some recognition for this, you have to for real compete. And when you have to compete, you want to be an NBA player, right? And you want to say, oh no, I'm as good as all these NBA players. I'm as good as LeBron James. I'm as good as Steph Curry. And look at me, boom, boom, boom. There's a clip of you knocking three after three. You can't miss 1,000 shots. But you're not doing it when the lights are brighter, or when the lights are bright. You're over there. Come on over to the NBA and let's see those skills. Let's see everyone watch you. No, I can't do that. I'm just good at my own gym. All right. Then don't cry when we don't recognize you, because you're not really trying to be a part of what we're trying to build. So those are pretty much my thoughts. I don't know, this is just me, my random dude living in Japan. And I'm on and off, because I work full time, so I don't have the time to really commit as much to the game as I would like to. I'm passionate about the game. I love this game. I play it every opportunity that I have available to me. I play it, so I care about what Frosty is doing. It's connected with me, about his mission and his vision for the event. I think it could be great. I just think we need to fix it a little bit to create that anticipation for people wanting to be involved. So let me know what you think in the comments below, as far as what would you do different to grow the event? What can we do to help Frosty out? How can we help him? Let me know. So, all right, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.